They say you should never go into business with friends. But Leo was more than a friend, he was practically my brother, which made his betrayal feel less like a knife in the back and more like he'd handed me the blade and guided my own hand to my gut. For 12 years, we were inseparable, from building disastrous soapbox derby cars to navigating the minefield of high school. Our dream was always the same: to build something of our own, something that would last. That dream was finally taking shape in the form of a small software company we were pouring our life savings and every waking hour into. The strain started when he met Victor, a slick, self-proclaimed business guru who promised shortcuts to success. I saw the guy for the grifter he was, all cheap suits and expensive words, but Leo was mesmerized. A weird, corrosive tension began to eat away at our friendship every time I voiced my concerns. I tried to back off, to let him have his mentor, telling myself this was his journey, not mine. Then one night, while we were working late, he left his laptop open while he went on a coffee run. He'd mentioned a private forum for tech startups he was on, and his password manager had the page pulled up. A username caught my eye, one I recognized from an old inside joke between us. I know I shouldn't have looked, but a gut feeling, cold and heavy, twisted inside me. What I found made my blood run cold. It was him, all right. Post after post, twisting our conversations, painting me as a clueless anchor holding him back. He told these anonymous strangers he was planning to dilute my shares and push me out right after we secured our first round of funding. He complained about my work ethic while I was pulling all-nighters fixing the code he'd messed up. And the worst part, in person he was all smiles and encouragement. Just yesterday he'd clapped me on the shoulder telling me, "We're almost there, man, I couldn't do this without you." That night he'd posted that I was a sentimental fool who was too trusting for the world of business. I felt a darkness crystallize inside me, sharp and clear. I didn't get angry, I got quiet. I started documenting everything. I took screenshots of every single post, cross-referencing them with dates on our project calendar. I saved emails where he praised my work, and I recorded our project meetings where I outlined the very ideas he later claimed I was incapable of having. I played the part of the loyal, slightly naive best friend perfectly. I smiled, I nodded, I collaborated. I let him think he was getting away with it, all while my plan began to form. A perfect little time bomb set to go off on the most important day of our professional lives, the pitch to the venture capital firm that could make or break us. The day of the presentation arrived, crisp and full of that electric big city promise. We stood in a glass-walled boardroom high above the streets, facing a panel of 5 stone-faced investors. Leo was in his element, charming and confident. I handled the technical demonstration, my voice steady despite the frantic hammering in my chest. Then, it was Leo's turn to present the business strategy and 5-year plan, the part he'd worked on with his guru Victor. As he stood up and smiled at the investors, I clicked the remote in my hand. But instead of his first slide appearing on the massive screen behind him, a different image loaded. It was his forum profile, his username displayed in bold letters. Then came the first post, projected for everyone to see: "My partner is a sentimental fool, too trusting for this business." I clicked again. Another post appeared, this one detailing his plan to cut me out after securing their money. Click, a post ridiculing the very investors in this room as old money dinosaurs. Click, click, click. A cascade of his own words, his own treachery, filled the screen in devastating silence. The air in the room became thick enough to choke on. Leo turned, his face draining of all color as he saw his secret life laid bare. His mouth opened and closed like a fish, but no sound came out. The lead investor, a stern-faced woman named Miss Albright, didn't even look at him. Her eyes were fixed on me. Chaos was a quiet thing. Leo grabbed his things and practically ran from the room without a single word. The other investors looked at each other, shaking their heads. But Miss Albright simply folded her hands on the table and gave me a long, evaluating look. She told her associates to give us a moment. Once they were gone, she said, "That was quite the spectacle, young man." I could only nod, the adrenaline finally starting to recede, leaving me feeling hollow. "Let me tell you something about Victor," she continued, her voice low and sharp. "He tried to pull a fast one on a colleague of mine a decade ago. I've known he was a snake for years. When I saw his name listed as an advisor on your proposal, I was concerned. This presentation wasn't just about your software. It was a test. I wanted to see if you had the backbone to handle the poison in your own house. You passed." She slid a business card across the polished table. "Get rid of him officially. Rewrite the proposal with you as the sole founder. My offer to fund you still stands." I walked out of that building alone, the weight of a 12-year friendship gone, but with the future I had almost lost clutched tightly in my hand. Revenge, I learned, isn't always loud and fiery. Sometimes it's just the quiet, satisfying click of a button.